Beneath the eternal gaze of the Step Pyramid, where the sands of Saqqara hold the secrets of millennia, a discovery was made. It began not with a grand announcement, but with a whisper from the earth itself. Archaeologists, tracing the ghostly imprints of collapsed walls, struck a passageway unmarked on any map, its entrance choked with the rubble of ages. A shaft descended deep into the bedrock, each step a journey backward through time, closer to an era when the Great Pyramids themselves were still a recent memory. At its base lay not a door, but a wall of limestone blocks, sealed with a mortar that had hardened over 40 centuries into a single defiant stone. Stamped upon it was a royal cartouche, the signature of a king whose name did not echo in the grand halls of history. A phantom ruler, his story seemingly erased from the official chronicles. The moment the final block was prized free, the team was met with a silence so profound it felt absolute. The air that rushed out was not the stale breath of decay, but a vacuum of time itself, a silence 4,000 years in the making. Beams of light pierced the darkness, revealing a world frozen in place. The walls blazed with color, the pigments of lapis lazuli and malachite clinging to life after 4 millennia. Hieroglyphs danced in the light, telling tales of royal processions, of offerings to the gods, and of the perilous journey through the underworld. One panel, impossibly preserved, depicted the pharaoh standing before Osiris, lord of the afterlife, receiving the Ankh, the very symbol of eternal life. Then the burial chamber itself, perfectly intact. In its center rested a sarcophagus of cedar wood, a precious import from the distant mountains of the Levant, its lid carved with the serene, sleeping face of the king. Around it, an astonishing array of artifacts lay precisely where ancient hands had placed them. Alabaster jars, their contents of wine and oil sealed with resin. Amulets of burnished gold, shaped as scarabs to guide the soul. Even trays of dried figs and bread, a final meal prepared for an eternal feast. It was as if the entombment had happened only yesterday. Here, where the eyes of the past saw only ritual, modern science could now read a precise record. High-resolution laser scans captured every brushstroke on the painted walls before the slightest breeze could disturb them. Residue analysis on the sealed jars revealed traces of honey still sweet and perfumed oils whose scent lingered as a faint ghost in the air. A sensory bridge to a vanished world. Most astonishing of all, through the shroud of ancient linen, non-invasive imaging could trace the contours of the mummified body, preserving the pharaoh exactly as his priests had intended, his final rest unviolated. This was not merely a tomb, it was an act of defiance. A ruler, perhaps deliberately obscured by his successors, had built for himself a fortress against forgetting. In the end, the stone and the silence outlasted the decrees of those who sought to erase him. For history is not only what is written by the powerful, but also what is buried by the determined, waiting patiently for the light to find it once more. Whispers etched in stone speak of an age of anxiety. Inscriptions, faint but insistent, tell of a kingdom fraying at the edges. The Nile, the very lifeblood of the civilization, had become a faltering pulse, its bounty strained by a relentless, punishing drought. Far to the east, in the shimmering heat of the Sinai, border-round lands, a new threat was rising. Powerful provincial governors, once loyal servants of the crown, now growing bold, their ambition challenging the divine authority of the pharaoh himself. In this climate of uncertainty and intrigue, the king made a decision that would echo through the millennia. He turned his back on the grand royal pyramids, the celestial stairways of his ancestors that dominated the horizon. His choice of burial site, a remote and hidden cleft in the earth, was a profound statement. Perhaps it was a final, silent rebellion against a court he no longer trusted, or an act
If you think you've seen everything, wait. What comes next will turn everything upside down.
of desperate self-preservation, a search for an eternal peace far beyond the grasping hands of his rivals. He sought not a monument to his power, but a sanctuary for his soul. Deep within this modest tomb, past the expected funerary goods, archaeologists found the most haunting artifact of all. Tucked into a shadowed recess, almost an afterthought, lay a narrow stone coffer, sealed in the black, viscous pitch of ages. When it was carefully opened, it did not reveal gold or lapis lazuli, but something infinitely more precious. A set of delicate papyrus scrolls, inscribed not in the monumental hieroglyphs of kings, but in a flowing, cursive hieratic script. Preliminary translations offer a glimpse into a world rarely, if ever, seen. These were not state records or religious hymns. They were the king's personal reflections. A voice, reaching across 4,000 years, speaking of the crushing weight of the double crown, the sacred emblem of a united Egypt. One fragile fragment, its edges crumbling to dust, confesses a profound loneliness, the isolation of a ruler who felt that even the gods had fallen silent in his hour of need. If these writings are fully authenticated, they represent one of the earliest, most intimate examples of royal introspection ever discovered. The diary of a god-king who felt painfully human. The tomb itself is a testament to a forgotten genius. The chamber's ceiling, a marvel of ancient engineering, is constructed from monolithic granite slabs, locked together with a jeweler's precision. For 4 millennia, it has endured the tremors of earthquakes, the rage of flash floods, and the slow, inexorable pressure of the earth above. It shows no signs of collapse, no hint of shifting, a silent rebuke to the notion that this era was a shadow of the Great Pyramid Age. More astonishing still, recent ground-penetrating radar surveys have unveiled a hidden ventilation system, a complex network of minuscule shafts carved deep into the living rock. This was not merely a tomb, it was a preservation machine, designed with an almost scientific understanding of airflow, intended to maintain the quality of the very air the deceased would breathe in the afterlife. Such innovations are forcing scholars to completely reconsider the technological prowess of the Middle Kingdom. And yet, for all the scientific marvels, an inescapable sense of intrusion hangs in the air. We stand in a space that was sealed with sacred purpose. The last human to witness offering and murmuring the last incantation before darkness fell for eternity. Now, that sacred darkness is banished by the sterile glare of our camera lights. The scent of incense and myrrh is replaced by the hum of our instruments. We are trespassers in paradise. The ancient Egyptians held a profound belief. To speak the name of the dead is to make them live again.
Stay with me, because what comes next has been hidden for a very long time, and only a few people know the truth behind it.
It was the ultimate act of remembrance, ensuring the soul's journey through eternity. With this discovery, a pharaoh's name, once erased by time and buried by sand, is spoken again on the lips of strangers from a world he could never have imagined. Some mysteries, however, will persist. The full translation of his intimate scrolls will require years of painstaking work. Genetic analysis of the royal mummy may yet reveal unexpected lineages, redrawing the map of dynastic alliances and betrayals. And somewhere, still sleeping beneath the shifting dunes, lie the tombs of the courtiers, the priests, and the soldiers who served him, each with their own story, waiting for their own day in the sun. The dust of this 4,000-year-old tomb still clings to us, a tangible link to a lost world. But as one story emerges from the desert, another whispers from a world away. An ancient mystery so vast, so well hidden, it has been disguised for millennia as an ordinary mountain. Beneath the lush green slopes of Gunung Padang in Indonesia, mounting evidence suggests a colossal pyramid lies buried. It is a structure of immense scale and bewildering age, one that threatens to shatter our understanding of the ancient world and rewrite the very first chapter of human history. High in the misty highlands of West Java, a primordial secret sleeps. Here, shrouded in emerald jungle, lies a hill known as Gunung Padang, the Mountain of Enlightenment. For generations, its story was woven into local legend, a tale of a great king who, in a feat of impossible ambition, sought to build a palace in a single night. As dawn broke, the legend tells, his work was frozen in time, leaving behind a chaotic scattering of pillars and terraces. But this captivating myth may be a faint echo of a far more profound reality. Beneath the soil and tangled roots, recent evidence suggests the presence of a colossal structure, a massive, layered pyramid that could shatter our understanding of the ancient world. The very notion is staggering. A sophisticated step pyramid, potentially constructed before the end of the last ice age, a relic from a chapter of human history we never knew existed. From a distance, the mountain betrays nothing, rising from the volcanic landscape as just another peak in a chain of silent giants. Yet as one draws closer, the illusion of nature begins to dissolve. The eye catches impossibly straight lines, the distinct tiered shapes of man-made terraces carved into its slopes. The ascent is a pilgrimage through time, up a winding path of 370 stone steps. At the summit, the world opens onto a series of 5 broad platforms, each smaller than the last, framed by crumbling walls of stacked volcanic rock. And strewn across this ancient stage are hundreds of hexagonal stone columns, a petrified forest shaped by forces both geological and, perhaps, human. They lie as if toppled by some cataclysm, silent witnesses to an age beyond memory, posing a question that hangs heavy in the humid air. What truths lie buried, waiting for their own dawn?